here on our Season 4 leaderboard. Can't forget about the great match that these two did play in Cleveland earlier this year during Season 2 of the Open Series. Semifinals of that tournament, they went deep into a game. Merriam was on Bant Heroic. Fabiano was on Esper Dragons when that deck did break out. Merriam was the winner of that match and ended up winning the tournament in Cleveland with Bant Heroic.
Gerard right now would be in the Players' Championship if things stop today. Ross would be the first person out.
Both of them did play in the Players' Championship last year. Ross making the top 8. Fabiano getting second place, losing to Brad Nelson.
Tough match in the finals.
Indeed. Fabiano with a couple copies of Dismal Backwater to start. That's why he's at 22. For Merriam, a Sansep Citadel. This is a windswept heath, and now he'll just pass the turn back.
And already trouble for Merriam in this game. Need to get off the ground something pretty fast here. He's got a lot of creature removal that is either narrow or not functional in his deck game one. A lot of his threats are pretty slow to bear. And missing on a 2-drop, not where he wants to be. Fortunately for Fabiano, person who loves Ashiok, he has no hesitation of playing it in Modern or even Legacy. So he's still going to get plenty of opportunities to play it.
You could have just said no hesitation.
None.
Because he'll play in any format. Probably Commander, Vintage too. It truly is one of his favorite cards. That is a Fleece main Lion. So Merriam's finally on the board. Well, at least he thought he was. Dissolve will take care of that. Top card stays on top. We're heading back Fabiano's way. He'll take a draw step. There's a Swamp. Here's Perilous Fall. Great time to play this. Board's clear, and it's a great way to reset things.
And this is already a challenging spot for Merriam. If he plays one threat at a time, trying to play around the Perilous Vault, he gets picked apart by spot removal. And if he tries to do more than that, well, Perilous Vault sweeps it all up.
Been a little while since we've seen this card. Very powerful effect for these blue-black control decks, however. Here is Sorin. The elevator will move down, so a Vampire token will be joining the battlefield. Then we head back Fabiano's way. Fabiano clearly with an answer to Sorin, Solemn Visitor, and the Vampire brings on the table in Perilous Vault, but Ross is trying to make some one-for-one exchanges with the Perilous Vault.
Yeah, Gerard would ideally try to answer the Vampires or answer Sorin and force another threat out of Ross. He does not want to trade one-for-one with his Perilous Vault. He can do a lot more work than that.
Over to Merriam we'll go. In for 2. Let's make it 3 because Sorin did move up. So Merriam will get to gain some life. He'll play a Sansep Citadel and simply pass the turn back. Now, one of the things here that can be an issue for Ross is just that he'll draw a lot of removal here in this game potentially, and it's all going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, you know, he has some mixture of Obzon Charms and Bile Blights, and he's got 4 Obzon Charms, 2 Heroes Downfalls, a Murderer's Cut, and ultimate price 3 copies of Dromoka's Command. The Obzon Charms are fine because he can use them to draw cards. Gerard has a couple Planeswalkers, so Heroes Downfall is not dead per se, but it's not where he wants to be. Dromoka's Command, ultimate price, Murderer's Cut, very hard to use profitably.
It's an Obzon Charm here for Merriam. He'll draw 2 at the expense of 2 life. Now it's time to untap, take a draw. In comes the Vampire token. Fabiano going to fall a little bit lower. Merriam will slide down Sorin to make another Vampire token. There's a Mana Confluence. Now pass the turn back. Trying to get Fabiano to break that Perilous Vault with just 1 threat. And now he will use it. So now Merriam can go back to deploying multiple threats.
Now, the question is, how good is Gerard's hand? The things he really wants from this spot are counter spells, removal spells, and card drawing, especially card drawing, because Ross has a lot of resources to work with. He's been sitting around not playing threats for a while. He resolved a Obzon Charm to draw 2. And so if you look at cards in hand, Gerard's down to 4. Ross is looking at a full hand.
Merriam will play a Morph. We know he's got main deck copies of Den Protector this weekend. There's Nurborg. Well, what's next here for Merriam? He looks like he has a copy of Fleecebane Line. But we'll go with Hangerback Walker for 1.
And this is a nice turn here for Merriam. He's deployed 2 threats, but he does not care if these are hit with a sweeper because he gets a 1/1 Thopter for his trouble from the Hangerback Walker. He also has the mana left over to unmorph Den Protector, get something out of his graveyard.
Fabiano going to dig through time here. So, of course, he'll take a look at the top 7. Take 2 with him. I know we like to call Ashiok Fabiano's invitational card, and that is accurate, but as far as standard is concerned, Fabiano always looking for an excuse to cast this card.
Well, the thing is, Dig Through Time is just really powerful, and a lot of people cast it. Ashiok stands out because Gerard was casting it first, and he's cast it the most often.
There's a swamp for the turn, and now here is Salumgar, the Drifting Death.
A threat that has looked very well positioned for this weekend. Solid against Hangerback Walker.
Den Protector's going to unmegamorph and get back an Abzan Charm. Merriam will draw. Now here's Dramoka's Command. Not the prettiest thing we've ever seen, but it'll work.
Got to get some offense going.
Got to get by that Slumgar somehow. So in we go.
Dramoka's Command does not do very much against Gerard's deck, so you're not going to get to be any better than this. It's not how you draw it up necessarily.
Yeah.
But
doesn't always have to be fluid ballet.
no. It's you do what you can do.
Hangerback Walker going to grow in Merriam's main phase. We head back Fabiano's way. Fabiano has already resolved to Dig Through Time. That's the Slumgar on the battlefield. Not a loaded hand as far as card density is concerned, but card quality you have to imagine is pretty high.
Yeah, you know, Merriam is probably going to be able to outdraw him in this game. But Gerard has no dead cards in his deck. Merriam has some. And a lot of Fabiano's cards are worth several cards out of Merriam's deck. So it's not just about who's drawing more cards.
Here's a copy of Languish.
Ross may be considering going for broke here. He can use Abzan Charm to get the Den Protector up to 5 toughness.
The problem with that is...
Just dies to the Slumgar attack.
Yeah. Fabiano's actually got this set up in a beautiful way. 2 Thopter tokens will come. Those are, of course, 1/1s. Slumgar can attack. It won't do any damage because it has negative power because of Languish, but you get yourself a trigger there from Slumgar, and now the Thopter tokens are about to bite the dust, and this is where you might see Merriam use Abzan Charm. He'll attempt to put counters on each one of the Thopter tokens. We'll see if Fabiano has a way to stop this. Looks like he does with Dissolve. So Dissolve will resolve. Top card going to go to the bottom from the scry. Thopter tokens will bite the dust from Slumgar's trigger. No damage will be dealt from Slumgar because Languish gave it negative power, and that'll be Fabiano's turn. Time for Merriam to try to rebuild. You remember these two, they went back and forth in Cleveland earlier this year. One of the most memorable matches we've covered on the Open Series this year. Merriam was victorious then, though he is not looking in great shape right now. Perhaps the Siege Rhino can turn things around. He'll go up to 23. Fabiano will fall to 12. Now here's a Fleecebane line as well. So he's rebuilt pretty well. Now we head back Fabiano's way.
Although Gerard has to set up where once again Languish would be really rough for Merriam. Gets the trigger off of Slumgar. Languish would wrap it up.
Murderous Cut going to go after Fleece Mane Lion. Now here's Anafenza. No quit here in Merriam. I think we got a morph as well with the Den Protector. So maybe a little bit of a closer game than it appears.
I mean, Gerard's got a lot of huge draws, but he needs to find them as soon as possible.
Here's Ashiok. Turn over Anafenza, Sorin, and a Temple's Silence. Those have all been exiled.
This build of Abzan aggro does have a lot of staying power because of the 4 main deck copies of Den Protector.
Den Protector's going to Unmegamorph. Merriam looks like he's going to get back. Den Protector, kind of start this loop here.
Just try to find more stuff to just hang around with,
yeah.
You know? Because of Anafenza and Siege Rhino is bored, he's in a position to start attacking. And so if he can pressure Fabiano while also keeping up on the card advantage fight, that's really the best that Merriam could ask for.
I guess the question is, what do you attack with? Though Hero's Downfall is going to go after Ashiok here. We'll see if Fabiano has a response to that. He does not. Maybe you just attack with everything. Fabiano is going to cast Hero's Downfall to take care of Anafenza.
And now Merriam is in a spot where he can't attack with his current board. I suppose Merriam could rationalize an attack here, because if Fabiano blocks the Den Protector, the most obvious block, you get him 4 points of damage. You can morph the other Den Protector, get back the other one, and just keep chipping away that way. And if Fabiano wants to block the Siege Rhino, well, those bounce off each other again for 3 points. So Merriam may consider an attack here.
A little bit of risk associated with it.
Right, because if Fabiano has a counterspell for the Den Protector, I think that I would want to see if the Den Protector resolved first before making an attack. And if it does, I think attacking with Siege Rhino and Den Protector here is reasonable. You get in some points of damage, and you don't care that much if you lose the Den Protector in combat.
Looks like Merriam not going to attack. Did resolve the Den Protector, but he's going to hold steady with that. Perhaps bigger plans for the morph.
You know, Ross has access to a lot of risky lines of play if he wants them, but some plays with some high upside. He thinks Gerard's just on lands or weak cards. For example, he can Den Protector back, get back Abzan Charm, spread counters on the 2 Den Protectors. Now Slumgar can't block either. A lot can go wrong going down that road, but if you think Fabiano's hand is very soft, it's not a bad way to do it.
Maybe it's Ugin time. Oh, boy.
Okay, this is really bad for Merriam.
Yeah.
You know, he can at least get the Hero's Downfall back with the Den Protector, but this is undoing a lot of work that Merriam has been doing accruing cards.
It looks like Ugin's going to go after Den Protector. Den Protector's going to Unmegamorph. Fabiano knows that. Hero's Downfall probably has to be the weapon of choice.
And I think that the logic here for Fabiano is he has Haven of the Spirit Dragon. So even if Ross goes ahead and blows this up, Merriam's board is going to look like a bunch of colored permanents squaring off against an Ugin. Very good position for Fabiano.
Quetzalcoatlos the draw there for Ross. You're going with the Plains and that Hero's Downfall. There's the Plains. Here comes the Downfall. Got to get Ugin off the battlefield. But again, I don't think Merriam has good attacks. If he didn't have good attacks last turn, he doesn't have good attacks this turn. So he just passes the turn back. Fabiano quickly untaps. There's a Dismal Backwater. Gerard will move up to 13. Slumgar doing a great job of holding down the fort here. Hero's Downfall the draw for Ross.
That's not bad because Fabiano's line of play here is getting back the Ugin and wiping Merriam's board, I would assume. Downfall at least allows him to get Ugin off the table, and then he has to beat Slumgar. No small task, but much more manageable than trying to beat Slumgar and Ugin.
Merriam coming in.
He knows he's about to lose his board.
Sure. Got to get your points when you can.
Exactly.
4 damage will come across. Fabiano does not cash in the Haven.
Okay.
Notable.
I guess at this point, with that Alpha Strike from Ross, Gerard's thinking, well, Merriam can't attack. He has to add more to the board. There's no rush for him to get back the Ugin. Great patience here from Fabiano.
What is this? Hangerback Walker. That's for 5. That's a lot. And Ugin does not line up well against that card. Now things will change here for Fabiano.
And now he may have to get back the Ugin because Ross has attacks available to him next turn. It's not pretty. Fabiano has to go, I would imagine, just minus the Ugin and get the Siege Rhino off the table. But next turn, Ross gets to start attacking. Fabiano's out of cards in hand. I believe he's on 0 cards. So I suppose Fabiano can take a draw step, and if he draws nothing significant, he can get back Ugin. He has enough mana to do this all in one turn.
That's a good draw.
That is a really good draw. Because you can tell Fabiano would ideally like to not have to do anything with the Ugin until Merriam commits more cards to the table. So if you can find a way to kill the Hangerback Walker, then Slumgar takes care of the Thopters, and then you're at parity again. You still have Ugin in reserve in the event that something comes up. But Fabiano is not trying to trade that with the Siege Rhino and a Hero's Downfall if he can avoid it. He's trying to get more for the Ugin than that.
Fabiano just going to pass the turn back. Merriam will draw. Looks like he picked up a copy of Murder's Cut. Here come the beatdowns. Remember, Merriam's deck does have a little bit of reach in it because of Siege Rhino. Hero's Downfall is going to take care of Hangerback Walker. A bunch of tokens are going to be made. Fabiano will block. Siege Rhino not big enough to trample all the way through that thing. Can't forget that Fabiano still has access to that Haven. Oh, wow, another dig through time, too. Jeez.
Yeah, so the dig through time yielded Hero's Downfall and another dig through time. Very nice set of cards here. Now if Fabiano finds an answer to the Siege Rhino, the Slumgar takes care of the Thopters. Ugin's still in the graveyard, ready to go in the event that Merriam commits a lot to the table. And even with Ross at 23 and Gerard on 9, you gotta love Fabiano's position.
Absolutely. Here comes Slumgar. Trigger, going to kill all those Thopter tokens. Slumgar, a beautiful answer to Hangerback Walker. I think this is part of the reason that Fabiano finds that his matchup is probably pretty good against this deck. Here's Languish. And Siege Rhino, well, it had -1/-1 because of Slumgar. I like that combination, too.
Yes.
Languish plus Slumgar. I like a lot of what Slumgar is doing here. Here's a Siege Rhino. Does this resolve?
I think Fabiano has Dissolve, but at this point he's saying Dissolve is for emergencies only because he can just play this game again. He can just say go, Merriam can attack. If more gets committed to the board, Fabiano gets back the Ugin. So there's no need to dissolve this.
Abzan Charm. Fabiano going to let Merriam have 2 cards. Jamoka's Command and Anafenza appear to be the draws.
What's been interesting about this game, it's a case study of raw card advantage versus contextual card advantage. If you look at just who's accumulated more 2-for-1s, definitely Merriam. He's had Den Protector, he's Abzan Charm several times. He's picked up more cards, but some of his cards are ineffectual, and a lot of Fabiano's cards are worth numerous cards out of Merriam's deck.
Fabiano's finally returned Ugin. Looks like he's going to cash in now. Feels like now's the time. So there's Ugin the Spirit Dragon for the 2nd time.
Yeah. Fabiano wanted to save the Ugin for the point in the game where just Slumgar was no longer enough to contain Merriam's board. He hit that point last turn with Anafenza plus Siege Rhino. Now the Ugin gets deployed and Fabiano gets an extra card for his troubles.
Hero's Downfall going to go after Ugin. Gerard's going to protect it. There's Dissolve. He'll scry, leave that card on top, pass the turn back over to Merriam. Merriam will untap and draw. He's got a Temple. Top card going to stay on top. We're going to head back Fabiano's way.
Really a delight to watch Fabiano play these kind of decks. Never panicked, never rushed his premium cards, made sure he got maximum value out of everything.
Ugin will scale up to 5. Merriam will take 3. There's a Temple. Take a look at the top card. Stay on top. Here comes Slumgar. Merriam will fall to 12. Siege Rhino here brings Fabiano down to 4. Radiant Fountain will bring him up to 6. Ugin will dome Ross for 3 more. Slumgar hanging back on D now.
And more great patience here. I think that a lot of people would have had the instinct there of minus to kill your Siege Rhino, attack you. But Fabiano happy to just hold back on defense.
No rush as here's another dig through time. 4th one. Dissolve is 1. It's unclear what the other card he took was, but Dissolve is going to make it real hard for Merriam now. Fabiano will untap a bunch. Urborg the draw. He'll play the Urborg. Ugin will move up. Merriam will fall down to 9. Looks like Jace's Ingenuity in hand here for Fabiano. He's got lots of mana. He can cast it now if he'd like. Looks like he will. So here come 3 cards.
And because Dig Through Time is so cheap, it's not hard for Fabiano to start chaining together card drawers like Dig into Jace's Ingenuity once we hit the stage of the game.
Fabiano will draw for his turn. Ugin's moving up to 11. There's a swamp. 6-6, though it doesn't seem that close. Gerard Fabiano will win game number 1 here over Ross Merriam. Blue-black control up a game over Obzon Aggro. Master class in patience there by Gerard.
Yeah, that was a beautiful game there. Plenty of opportunities for Gerard to be a little hasty with his resources there, but I think the way that he navigated the offense-defense part of Slumgar there was great. Was happy to use it to contain 1 threat from Merriam when they were at that stage of the game. And then whenever Merriam deployed multiple things to try to get around Slumgar, Fabiano was ready with a sweeper like Ugin or Languish. Just a great game there from Fabiano.
Sideboard time, and we will start with Ross Merriam and his Obzon Aggro deck. You have to imagine he's got some tools against control decks.
2 Glare of Heresy, 2 Tragic Arrogance, 2 copies of Wingmate Rock, a Self-Inflicted Wound, a Drown in Sorrow, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Ultimate Price, 3 Herald of Torment. Really not a whole lot for this matchup. He's got to get the Dromoka's Commands, the Ultimate Price, and the Murderous Cut out of his deck. Those are 5 slots. I would imagine 2 Thoughtseize and 3 Herald of Torment come in.
Other side of things here for Gerard, he's got 2 Freakus Cure, 2 Dragonlord Slumgar, 2 Jace Friends Prodigy, a Duress and Negate, a Disdainful Stroke of Languish, an Orbs of Warding, a Palace Siege, a Dragonlord Prerogative, and 2 Foul Tongue Invocations.
I think the additional removal spells like Foul Tongue Invocation come in here. I think you can also bring in Dragonlord Slumgar if you're working on the assumption that Merriam is cutting most of his creature removal. Light sideboarding here from Fabiano. I think the matchup is naturally very strong for him.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Merriam will be on the play with his Obzon Aggro deck. Both these players have had a lot of invitational success. Gerard making the top 8 of his first invitational, actually a couple weekends ago in New Jersey. But the champion of that invitational has his token now. It is a Germ token that belongs to Alex Bostecki. He'll be at our Players Championship. And what's not to love about this token?
Yeah, this is a great Germ token, a variety of ways to get this. If you register for any of our 2-day $20,000 Open Series events like the one we're having in Worcester right now, any of our 5K Premier IQ players, that's both the Premier IQs like we run this Sunday at this Open Series, along with the ones that you can bring to your local store. And any order from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more, starting October 2nd, noon Eastern, will come with this token.
Congratulations to Alex Bostecki. A very impressive win a few weeks ago in New Jersey. He is headed to our Players Championship, potentially with both of the 2 players that we're watching right now. They both played in it last year, did Ross Merriam and Gerard Fabiano. Fabiano would be qualified to go back yet again if things ended today. Merriam would be the first person out, but we know that Ross will be playing in a lot of IQs here this season. We'll see him in a lot of Open Series main events as well. And I would be surprised if he doesn't head back, but we also have taken a look at that leaderboard quite a few times, and things are pretty close.
It was looking good for him, and then, Todd Anderson had to go and rip off a win last week, and now things are hard again. Again, if we stop today, Ross would be out. Logan Mize would be the last one in 9th place. 10th and 11th place, Jim Davis, Danny Jessup already qualified. And then 12th, we have Ross. A lot of Magic left to be played, though.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of Magic left.
It's only September. I say only September like this year has been a slow one. Trust me, it hasn't. Fabiano looks like he's going to keep. Sansep Citadel's where Merriam will start things. An island there for Fabiano. Ross with an Urborg. No turn 2 play again.
And this is bad news for Ross. No turn 2 play, and because Fabiano started on an island, I think that Merriam would have held back on the Urborg if possible. It's possible Fabiano's hand is without black mana, and Merriam would have liked to hold back on that Urborg as long as possible. It would not surprise me if that was Merriam's last land.
There's a Thoughtseize. Thanks for the swamp.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, that is Merriam's last land. 2 copies of Anafenza, an Abzan Charmer, Herald of Torment, a Johnny as well. Let's make it actually 3 copies of Anafenza. Don't think Gerard's taking one of those.
Yeah. My guess here would be the most likely card is Abzan Charm. Second most likely card is a Johnny.
Oh, there goes Abzan Charm. We'll see if Merriam has a top deck in him. Temple of Silence. That sort of counts.
It'll have to do.
Yep.
It's not as good as an untapped land, but beggars, etc.
Yeah. Top card goes to the bottom. Merriam will draw yet again. There's Anafenza. See if this resolves. Now a Temple. Top card going to stay on top here for Ross. Hero's Downfall will take care of the first of many Anafenzas this game.
Urborg doing some serious work for Fabiano.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Our Radiant Fountain too.
You are not kidding. Here's Anafenza number 2. If Ross could pick that up, I bet he would.
I take it back. I take it all back.
Yeah, I don't want to play this. Gerard misses a land drop. Merriam. Another Temple of Silence. There's a third Anafenza. That one's going to get countered too. Fabiano going to leave that card on top. There's another Temple.
I wonder if Fabiano has anything left over for the Ajani now.
It's a big question.
You know, Miriam's going to get to that card. And if Fabiano can't answer it, really bad news.
Fabiano's used 2 dissolves already. He does have a card like Clash of Wills in his deck. It is a Johnny time. It's in, and it's going up because, well, it can only go up. Merriam will look at the top 4 cards of his library. He can reveal an aura, a creature, or a planeswalker. And he'll take a planeswalker there and Sorin. That'll be added to the grip. The rest of the cards will go to the bottom. And now we head Fabiano's way. He'll sacrifice the Flooded Strand.
He's sacrificing a strand here. I assume this means we're about to see a dig through time.
Typically, I'd say Plains or Island on the way, but Gerard just blue-black control this weekend. Just another fetch land to help facilitate dig through time. You mentioned dig, and there it is. So Fabiano will be taking a look at the top 7, and of course taking 2 with him here. That Urborg has certainly helped Fabiano out this game.
Yeah, it's been a lifesaver. You know, Fabiano kept a hand that appeared to have multiple dissolves, so it's not like he would have had nothing to do, but he was able to play a Thoughtseize and a Downfall because of that Urborg.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Five cards to the bottom, 2 to the grip. Moving and grooving is Fabiano. See if he can find an answer for the Planeswalker. There's a Pluto Delta. Here's 6 mana. That's an answer.
I was expecting Dragonlord Slumgar to come in. Again, you'd expect Merriam to cut most of his creature removal. Now we'll find out.
And now Dragonlord Slumgar is really large.
Well, this play seems a little risky to me because now Abzan Charm is on the table for Ross.
Sure.
I guess Abzan Charm's on the table regardless.
Yep.
Same thing.
Thoughtseize. Fabiano's got a Dissolve, a Jace's Ingenuity, a Bile Blight, and a Polluted Delta.
Jason's Ingenuity seems like the most dangerous card in this hand. Game is shaping up to go on for a long time.
Curious to see how Ross will assess things here. Right now, no removal spell in hand here. No removal spell in hand for him. He's got Fleece mainline, he's got Sorin in hand, looks like Herald of Torment as well.
I mean, Fabiano's plan might be just plus a Johnny, 3 more counters, attack you for 9, plus a Johnny, 3 more counters, attack you for 12.
Yep. It could be that simple. Looks like he's got to take Dissolve as a result.
And it's just such an unexpected line from Fabiano as well. With in your Merriam seat, you know, Fabiano's just dissolving and Hero's downfalling. You think you're shaping up for this like really long, drawn-out attrition game. Your Johnny resolve, things are looking good, and suddenly you're looking at a 2-turn clock.
Sorin is here. A vampire will be made. Fabiano looks like he's going to lead off with Jason's Ingenuity. Let's give him the appropriate information about how to make a decision. If you're Merriam, you're just hoping that Jason's Ingenuity doesn't bring anything too scary along with it. There's Bile-Blight to take care of the Vampire token. And Johnny's going to grow Dragonlord Slumgar. Fabiano says, I'm going to attack you for 9. I don't care about your Planeswalker.
Now, if he's found a removal spell for the Vampire, suddenly Merriam's dead from out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for Merriam, he can make 2 flying blockers this turn. He has Herald Torment in hand, and then he can make a Vampire with the Sorin. Drew a copy of Hangerback Walker, and then has a Fleeceman Lion in hand, but the resources here are not great for Ross.
Merriam's still just in the abyss.
Yeah. There's Herald. Pass the turn back. Fabiano will draw.
Like bestowing there. Allows Merriam to not immediately die to Languish.
Yep. Fabiano quickly sacrificing that fetch land. He's going to dig through time again. The Gerard special. Take a look at those 7 cards. Take 2 with them.
I don't think this is necessarily Fabiano's plan in the matchup, but it was impressive that he just identified it as something that could happen.
Yeah, it's just nice to be able to shift like this.
And I'm sure that he did not leave the Ajani in hand for no reason.
Yeah.
He knew the Abzan Charm was more threatening, allowing Merriam to maybe find discard spells to break things up. And I'm sure this line of play, this path was sculpted very early on in the game.
I know we haven't seen Dragonlord Slumgar much in the standard format. We did when Esper Dragons kind of showed up back in April, but this is a very powerful card, very powerful effect. You know, players are casting Eldrazi. Don't mind if it do.
And it's so good for this matchup too, because Merriam's deck is not particularly fast. If he's bringing in any permanents to sideboard for this matchup, they're going to be Planeswalkers.
There's Thoughtseize.
So this card's always going to be stealing a high impact threat or a Planeswalker.
I bet Gerard wouldn't mind 100 life, by the way.
Sure, we'll take it too.
Yeah. There's your block.
I think Dragonlord Slumgar is large enough at this point, so.
Yeah.
You know, classic 12 power creature with Death Touch just in case.
Perhaps Gerard now spins the wheel. Okay, he'll grow it up. Pass the turn back. Merriam has to take 1 from the Herald. He falls to 8.
I really like Gerard gaining 100 next turn.
That's your hope?
Yeah. It's a good hedge, too. Then if something happens to Dragonlord Slumgar, it's not like Ross is getting his Ajani back.
Yeah, plenty of time to work with.
Yeah. A lot of time to draw out at 117.
It's very important to have everything covered. There's a forest. Merriam going to play Fleeceman line. I think he'll be activating the Monstrosity on it as well. There's a land. There's the activation. Fabiano doesn't seem to mind all that much, which leads me to believe that Herald of Torment is about to die. Ah, yes, 100 life. 117 for Gerard. Give me my Ajani back, thank you. Now a Languish. And that is going to do it. Gerard Fabiano going to win this match here over Ross Merriam. And let the score be known. It's 117 Gerard, 7 for Ross before the lethal attack. Fabiano moves on to 9-3. Merriam will fall down to 8-4. Fabiano's top 8 dreams still alive. Merriam's are dead for this weekend.
Technically did not need the 100 life.
Correct.
But you can't give that up, and you can see a smile for both Fabiano and Merriam there, appreciating the moment.